I think it was at that point that I was like, all right, this is for real. These guys care, and they like know what they're talking about, and they're not just giving the cookie cutter answers.
All right, everybody, I'm so excited to introduce you to Heather. Heather is one of our OGs. You're an OG strong mom.
Just about close.
Oh my gosh. I'm was saying before I press record, this is long overdue. So I'm extremely excited for everyone to hear your story, your journey. So give everybody a quick snapshot, a bio of your life.
All right. So I'm Heather. I am 50 years old. I just turned 50 in June. Married to Donnie, my husband, for 25 years. We have two daughters, 17-year-old who's a senior in high school, daughters. That would mean two girls. I was gonna say both girls, but 17-year-old who's a senior in high school, and she's a dancer and now a cheerleader. And I have a 18, almost 19-year-old daughter who is a freshman at a local community college, who's always played sports as well. And now she's studying to be a teacher. I'm the CEO of a community health center in Springfield, Illinois, and I live and grew up in a little bitty small town of about 5,000 people just south of here. So
I love it. Thanks. All right. Paint the picture. That's the best way I say that now. Paint the picture before, if you can remember, it's been a while. Before Strong Mom, how are you feeling? What was going on that made you reach out or look for a change?
Yeah, I can remember.
Okay.
I had just turned 49 years old. I had, for about 6 months to a year prior to that, started experiencing, those hot flashes and fun little perimenopausal symptoms. Plus with COVID, like I was just feeling kind of blah, had gained weight, had tried all these different like fad diets over time to try to lose the weight. And I would lose a little bit here and then gain it all back. And I was just to a point about a year ago where I was like, okay, I have got to do something, because I wasn't even just maintaining, like I was like steadily like a couple pounds, and it wasn't like boom, 20 pounds. It was like a pound, 2 pounds, a pound, 2 pounds, but I was never like going backwards. And I was just feeling uncomfortable, and I was feeling like not pretty, which I know is like superficial, but whatever. And I was just, not feeling myself. And I was just looking, I was like, okay, I need to do something. I probably need some help. And I think like once I put that out into the universe, all these things like started popping up on my Facebook, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll find you.
And I mean, it was more than just Strong Mom. There was other ones, like all these just popped up. And so I started following, and actually Strong Mom was one of the last ones that popped up, but I had like these things that popped up. And so I'm like, okay, I'll follow. And so I was actually looking into these different programs, trying to decide which one was going to be best for me. And Strong Mom popped up on my Facebook, and I was like, okay, I'll follow. And so, I followed for a while, and eventually I, reached out for more information, and here I am almost a year later.
Isn't that crazy though, when you put something out into the universe?
Yeah, it is crazy.
Or you type it into your Facebook, or you type it into any type of thing in your phone.
Yeah.
And then we'll find you. All right. So give everybody a little snippet into your journey. You're on the longer end of the journey, which is awesome. And it's funny because even before, when I said this is long overdue, and I was talking to Jenna, and I'm like, I really want to jump on with Heather. I said, you know what? I'm actually glad, because there's been a longer point, and it's a different perspective than a lot of people I talk to. So I'm super excited for you to just share your journey. So you came across Strong Mom, and then give it to us until today for whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
All right. Well, so, I reached out, connected, finally decided to just do this. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little skeptical. Not, that you guys were not a real company, but it was going to be like everything else, right? I was going to, pay some money, and I was going to do some things, and I might lose a few pounds. And then when it was over, I would gain it all back or whatever. And then and again, so I joined, I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. Like, I'm investing the money, like I might as well like put my all into it. Otherwise I'm not going to get any results, right? And then I remember, so Jenna is my coach, and I love Jenna. She's freaking fantastic. But I remember when she was first assigned to me, and I've never told her this, so she'll appreciate this, but I remember thinking, I'm like almost 50, and I have 2 teenage daughters, and I've been married for like ever. And like, what is this like beautiful little 20 something? I don't even know how old she is. What is this beautiful little 20 something year old who has no kid? Like, how is she going to relate to me? Like, she is not going to be able to help me. Well, I was wrong. Remember, like the first time I talked to her, I was like, okay, so okay. Jenna, okay, Jenna. And then I even remember, like, one of the very first times I reached out to her, like, weekends have always been an issue for me. I'm one of those people that does really good Monday through Friday, and then weekend comes and bam, and I'm eating all the things and drinking all the things, and then Monday comes and I'm starting right back where I was before. And I remember reaching out to her very early and saying, this is my problem, or this is one of my problems. It's not my only problem, clearly, but and I remember like sending the Voxer message, and I remember thinking, well, she's going to answer with plan for it, because that's what everybody says, plan for it. And like, okay, like, right. Oh, how do I do that? And she didn't respond with that. She responded with like real action steps. She asked me questions like, okay, what do you, my husband and I go out on Friday nights. It's kind of our thing. Most of the time when we can, we go out to the same place. We have like I have the same drink. He, I get almost the same food every single, it's our routine. And she's like, okay, send me the menu and I'll tell you some things that I would probably get if I were you. And then she even gave me like, well, why don't you order this to drink instead of this? And, if you're going to do an appetizer, why don't you do an appetizer or a drink? So she like gave me all these like real action steps. And not only that, but she went even further and like looked at the menu and said, yeah, why don't you get this or this or this? So I think it was at that point that I was like, all right, this is for real. Like these guys care, and they like know what they're talking about, and they're not just giving the cookie cutter answers. So it was about that time that I was like, all right, let's do this. And so I did it. And, I didn't join in on the phone calls probably for a good couple of months, because, what was I going to say? I was like,
this is why I love these conversations.
I know.
I never know what you're going to say. And for everyone watching, Heather's like you need your own show, but this is always her energy. It's the best. Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah. I mean, I like, I was doing all the things, not perfectly by any means. I finally started joining the phone calls. And that, again, I think was another turning point, because that's when I like felt the community. Like the Facebook group is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But once you like start like putting the faces to the names, and you start like hearing the voices and like sharing things with the group, and sometimes we're sharing tears, and sometimes we're celebrating each other. And like once I did that, I feel like that was kind of the turning point. I remember, I had a goal to lose like about 20 pounds. That was kind of my goal in the 16 weeks. And I didn't get there. I didn't get all the way there, but I got to like I think in the 16 weeks, I got like to about 12 pounds. But the picture, I remember sending the pictures to the progress pictures to Jenna. And actually, I remember sending the pictures at 8 weeks. I had 8 pounds at 8 weeks. I remember that. And I sent the pictures and I was like, this is only 8 pounds. And it was a dramatic difference. And then I got up to about 12 pounds. And right now I'm hovering around still 15. But like, I'm okay with that. Right. I'm okay with that. And I've finally gotten to the point now where I'm like, okay, like, let's love the body that we currently have. I'm learning to do that right now and still setting goals for, like 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road. And so there's that whole weight loss thing, but then like, there's the whole, just being able to deal with things. My daughter went through like a crazy, situation, with her dance studio. And it was a really rough time for several months for her and for me because of that. And just being able to like help her through that and help her make some, like, she was 16 at the time, help her to make like the biggest decision that she had made at that point in time in her life, being able to help her with that. Like, I use a lot of the tools that I got from Strong Mom to help her and to help me maintain my sanity as well.
Yeah. And again, so I love these stories because I love moms sharing the real life application. And again, we always say the scale's a tool because 8 pounds could be 8 pounds, but you could look completely different. Some people some people lose 0 weight, but they're like, oh, I'm actually 2 sizes down in pants. Like it's one tool. It's not all the tools, but that's the thing, right? It's about how can we live more present, more calm? How can we be responsive and not reactive in the situations that are more volatile? Like, you have a teenage daughter who's going through some rough pumpkins. Like, it's the more solid you can be, but the more you can be there for her. And that to me is, we can talk about numbers, we can talk about weight, and yes, everybody comes in and wants to lose weight, but I don't know, those stories are the ones that I love. Or I know you've had a lot of curveballs thrown your way.
Yeah.
Yes. And you've handled them really, really well.
Right. I thank you. I feel like I have too. This has been a crazy year. Like, my parents and the kids, and I've had all kinds of stuff going on. And yeah, I totally feel like I've handled it completely differently than I ever would have in the past. Like, I've always been in the past, like, what kind of let's just say it, a control freak. And things need to go my way. And if they don't go my way, I'm like angry and irritated. And like, I just haven't felt any of that in a long time. And I truly feel like I really am embracing living my life with gratitude. Like, that's been huge for me as well. Like, really being grateful for what I have. So that's been huge.
Right now I feel like I'm talking to one of my family members, and this is a huge compliment. I love your honesty. I love your honesty and your laugh, and you're the best. No, it matters. It really does. And I do know you've had a lot of curveballs, and I do know you've handled them well, and you're human. And I do want to make a note. Your daughter, especially with dance, I know traveled a lot.
Yes, a lot.
And we hear from moms, well, I'm really busy, I got kids in sports, or I'm traveling a lot. I'm like, oh, trust me, we got a lot of moms who travel like a lot. And you still maintain doing all the things you need to do. Of course, are there hiccups? For sure. Are there days here? For sure. But think about the consistency that you've shown over almost a year, and going through all your curveballs and a lot of, I'm learning this as my kids are getting older. It's a different busy. Like, you're never home busy.
Yeah.
But it's really incredible. And I'm glad that we're talking after a long time, because people will ask us, what happens after, right? Like the initial 16 weeks and I'm like, honestly, if you can put the time in and actually do the work, because you do have to do the work, you can keep the tools forever.
Yeah. And I was reflecting not too long ago and thinking about when I started. And if I think about it like in a timeline, I started at like mid-October. So I went through Halloween, I went through Thanksgiving, I went through Christmas. We did a full family, like my entire family, brothers, sisters, parents, all went to Florida for a week right after Christmas through New Year's. We did a whole season of dance competition where we were on like a couple weekends a month, all over the place. We went to Branson for a week for a dance competition. We went to New York for a week for a dance competition. And I just got back from Mexico. Now in Mexico, I ate and drank whatever I wanted. But I planned on that because I've worked really hard for the last year to get to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to lay my butt on the beach and enjoy it. So, but to think about all of that stuff, and like, same thing back in October, I was like, well, I can't start now because, it's about Christmas time, and like, who's going to lose weight during Christmas? Well, I'll be darned. Like, you can lose weight during Christmas if you just do the little bit things consistently. So like all of that, like I have traveled so much this year. It's been freaking crazy.
And you're still doing all the things. And I love it. It's why I like moms sharing their stories, because we'll hear that too. Oh, well, it's almost the holidays. And there's always going to be something. There's always a reason. It's like,
there's always something. Yes.
Always something. Dig it. All right. Last question. What would you tell someone if they were on the fence, right? We've got a lot of moms interested, but they're nervous, skeptical. Like you said, but by the way, I can't wait for Jenna to watch this.
I know. Gonna be hearing from her soon.
Oh, it's so good. But there's people who, and I get it. I'm one of those people too, right? You research, and we always tell people when they say, well, we're going to look into you. I'm like, great. Like that's actually working in our favor. So go ahead and do that. Yeah. But what would you say to someone on the fence?
I would say, give it a go. I mean, it's totally worth the investment. You'll get your investment back like threefold in just the benefits of, weight loss. There's that. I mean, that's what we all are initially interested in, right? But all of the other stuff, it's just totally worth every penny plus some. So just invest in yourself because you're totally worth it.